What's up guys in the works, and welcome to some Battlefield 3, and we're going to be looking at the Type 88 today because this is a weapon that got patched in the Aftermath patch, and I've been meaning to sit down and look at this weapon for a couple weeks now, and a lot of you guys have wanted me to revisit a couple of the LMGs that did get buffed a little bit. And the Type 88 was one that, let's face it, nobody uses this weapon, and in fact I considered titling this one Made in China Part 2. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I actually did a video on some of the QBB, QBU, QBZ weapons called Made in China. And this is the other weapon from the Carcam pack that is a Chinese LMG, also known as the Type 88. And this is a weapon that no one uses. It was just really underused, and DICE was like, okay, let's sit down and try to buff this thing to make it so that it actually has a reason to be used. So they reduced the recoil even more for, I think this is the third straight patch that the Type 88 has actually gotten some sort of buff. So pretty cool, I guess, if you're a Type 88 fan and you wanted to, and ooh, that was a nifty C4 right there. If you're a Type 88 fan and you wanted to have more usability out of this thing, it definitely got a lot better. It has nearly no recoil, but does that make it an attractive choice now? I don't know about that. It still shoots super slow. It only shoots 650 rounds per minute, which, you know, there's other weapons that shoot that slow that can do well. I mean, the RPK, the QBB, all shoot around 600 to 700 rounds per minute. So I would say about 650 to like 700 is the standard on most of the LMGs. And then if you start to look at some of the other LMGs with the higher fire rates like the M249, then of course you've got the M240 Bravo, which does more damage, and it shoots around 650 as well, so it's a pretty standard fire rate. But you know, if you look at this weapon, you know, what really makes it so underused, what really makes it so unattractive? And I really can't look at the stats and tell you guys the correct answer. It's just something about the Type 88 just makes it so painful to use. I mean, it does have one of the slowest reloads in the game. I think it takes, if it's empty, like 7.5 seconds, something ridiculous like that. I mean, that's a lot of time to reload a weapon. Unfortunately, I don't actually have a reload in this video to show you where I go empty because I'm pretty aware of it, so I try to avoid ever letting my ammo get depleted. You'll see me reload when I have like 50, 60 rounds still in my magazine, where I would normally, you know, let it run dry. So that's definitely one of the huge downsides to it. But in the patch, DICE basically said in the patch notes that they were reducing the overall recoil of the weapon. They didn't actually say what they were doing to it, just the overall recoil. And the reasoning for doing that, according to them, was to make it more competitive with the M249. And I kind of scratched my head at that, because when you think about comparable LMGs, very rarely does the M249 come into mind when I'm comparing it to the Type 88. Usually the LSAT and the Type 88 are the two weapons I draw the most comparisons to. Oddly enough, those are the two weapons that did get patched, so maybe they're trying to bring those two more in line with the M249, but I just feel like the 249 just has such a high fire rate that it's just uncomparable to these. It's so much better, and I find it to be just as easy to control. So that's the one upside, I guess, to the Type 88, is the easy control. And I mean, look at that right there. So you can go ahead and add the Type 88 to my list of weapons that I've shot people out of helicopters with. I was waiting to finally get somebody with that. I must admit, I got a little bit lucky there on those headshots, and he was a little bit weak, but now we can add the Type 88 to my list of weapons. But anyways, back on topic, this is really easy to control, and I find it to be very beneficial to have a bipod, but it's not reliant on the bipod like I find a lot of the LMGs on. I have no problem just firing this from the shoulder. I have no problem going into a close quarters room and just kind of spraying this thing with suppression, just trying to keep people down. So it is really controllable, especially at medium range. You can stay on target quite easily, and you'll often see throughout this video me popping people off, when normally, you know, with the 240 Bravo, the 249, it's a little bit more wild, it's a little bit harder to do. But I would not say this is one of the best bipod LMGs, not by a long shot. The rate of fire, the low damage, it just doesn't really make it that attractive. You don't really gain that much from the bipod as you would with the 249 or the 24 Bravo, because the Bravo, when you bipod that thing, it just becomes an absolute laser beam. You can drop people so quickly. You know, the high damage, the higher rate of fire, it just seems so perfect for the bipod. Same with the M60, same with the 249. So even though the M60 I think is actually the slowest shooting LMG, I tend to favor that even over the Type 88, because you do get the higher damage. So Type 88 is still the ugly duckling in my eyes. I don't really see a whole lot of reasons to start using it. The patch did make it more controllable. They did make it a lot easier to mow down multiple people because you can stay on target. But it just doesn't fit the role that I really expect from an LMG. So I'm going to have to give this the in the works thumbs down. This is still going to be an underused weapon. There's not really a whole lot of incentive to touch this post-patch. I know a lot of you guys were wondering what my thoughts on this particular weapon post-patch was, and you know, I'm not feeling it. Oddly enough, the Type 88 is my most used support weapon. I don't know why that is. I think I'm a glutton for punishment, but I still see a lot of better alternatives out there, and I don't really see any reason to recommend using this weapon in any scenario, because there's a lot better choices if you want to use a bipod. There's a lot better choices if you want to play a little bit more aggressive in shoulder fire. Like I said, it's really easy to control in like hallway situations where you're taking out multiple people, and the low rate of fire, it makes it really easy to stay on target. But you know, I could do the same thing with an RPK and M27, so it's really personal preference though, but not feeling the Type 88. But if you're missing my last videos, now's a chance to catch up. We got a Black Ops 2 video talking about the Chi-Com, and before that I actually did an in-game video where I'm talking a little bit whether or not I think Capture the Flag will work in Battlefield 3. So check those out. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.